Shauna, we talked the other night about you guys getting back to who you were. How much of that is just defense, and how did you guys maybe kind of get back to that way?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's where it all starts for us is really on the defensive end. So with us being more aggressive, just more intensity, and I think some of it just has to come. And I really think the other night was the first time we kind of looked like ourselves. And if we can have that pop to us and really get after it defensively, now we can, our offense comes and it really flows from there. So it all starts on the defensive end and rebounding for us. So hopefully we can take that and use that confidence and carry it into tomorrow and all the games to come.
Did you see that building in the week of practice, or is it something that kind of popped up really heavy on Sunday?
I saw it in practice. That's the biggest, really the thing for us is the intensity that we practice at. And I really just think we had a great week. Really got after it on both ends, but it just something about it. I don't know what it was, but that week, I mean, we pushed them, we were competitive, we played against each other, we scrimmaged, and they just kind of got it back.
When you put up 90, is it a concern at all when Makaira's not a huge part of the points scored?
No, I mean, that's a good thing, right? If we can score 90 without Makaira, and she only scored, I know what she had.
6.
Yeah, so that's a really good thing for us. And, she'll come. She's coming along. She just hasn't practiced and has been out. So in order to get your legs under you, get that confidence, that game feel, it's a lot different than even, here in the practice court. But she just hasn't had practice time. So I know there's no one that I trust more. Makaira will be back, and now when she's scoring her normal 20 and we're scoring, 90 without her, that's a great thing.
Is there something maybe you see from her though in practice or in a game, Makaira, that tells you that she's kind of turning things around, or what you look for from her?
I just really think it's just the feel of the game, when she has the ball in her hands nonstop. So it's a little bit different too from a point guard. The reads, the passes, just being able to have that flow to you. And then obviously her offensive side, her shots, being able to get her legs under her. And that's where it's just going to be reps and practice, going game speed. And she's out here working out right now. So just getting that feel back. And I really think with her too, it's a couple shots going in and seeing it go through the net will really make a change for her.
For Adalia McKenzie, the last 2 games have been her best 2 games of the season. What have you maybe noticed from her the last 2 games that you'd like to see?
It started with her too on the practice court and just really being focused and just her normal motor. Like when she has a motor, we're really, really good. And there wasn't spans where I had to pull her because she got tired. She was able to play at a high intensity level for a long period of time. And when she's in that mode and that mindset, she's attacking, she's defending, we're at a whole nother level. She's really like our X factor. When she's going at a high level, not even scoring. When she scores, it's a bonus. But when she's defending and moving and has that energy, we're a really good team.
Has she always been that person that you can put their best wing on defensively, or has she grown into that role since you got here?
I've challenged her with that since I got here last year. And I thought early on that was one thing I wasn't as happy about her game early on. The first few games was her defensive effort. But starting at Notre Dame and going into our last game, she was really, really good defensively and rebounding. So those are the things that, those are the standard. Now, if she can score like what she is doing and finishing at a high level right now, the next step is still getting her three-point shot, to fall during a game. But I know last year one of her goals was to be all big defensive team, and this year again, and I know she's capable of doing that. It's just about her being focused and sustaining that energy.
How's Cam, and what do you expect her status to be for tomorrow?
Yeah, she's practicing as of yesterday, so she's good to go unless, knock on wood, something happens. But she should be back, and we should have our whole entire team back for a game, which is a great thing. and on the practice court today. So I'm excited about that.
How much can you learn just having everybody available for a game? This is the first game, yeah, all season.
I think so, yes. And we were fortunate last year. We didn't deal with that many injuries. We had, Makaira was out a couple games, and that's when Jen kind of stepped in. And then late in the year, we kind of ran into all those injuries, but we didn't have it throughout the year. And so that's been adversity for us this year, but it's part of sports. And like I said, I'm never gonna sit here and use it as an excuse or anything. People have had to step up. People have had to, roles change a little bit. But I know one thing: I can't wait to play and practice with 1 through 14, because we haven't reached our, we're just starting to kind of get that togetherness, and I think you saw that the other night with the defensive side. Is really, we just are starting to feel each other and kind of get that connectiveness that we haven't been able to get this year just due to injuries.
Just one more about Makaira, if I could. Like, beyond her stats, obviously those are pretty written about, but like, what's her presence, just her energy on the court? It seems like she talks a lot and she's very, very vocal out there.
She changes, our practice. She changes the game. She's, her, Jen, KB are leaders, I would say, but they all lead in a different way. And Makaira is one of the more vocal ones, and especially as a point guard, for her to be that one talking, and then just she sets a tone defensively for us. I mean, she just moves. She has great, pop and energy defensively, which really sets the tone for the rest of our defense. So she does so much beyond, scoring baskets. That's why it's so nice just to have her back here, and even just on the practice court with us, because we have better practices when she's out there. Everybody good?
We were talking to Kendall quite a bit about the defense and kind of getting back to who you guys are on that side of the floor. What's that look like, and why do you feel like you guys were able to do that on Wednesday?
Yeah, at practice, that's all we worked on, just defense and having a lot of intensity on defense. And defense is a part of our identity. Like, we want to get stops and we want to just lock people up. So that's what we worked on a lot at practice, and it did translate to the game.
How much of that is like sustainable to carry over game, where it sounds like a lot of it's like very energy based?
Yeah, it does take a lot of energy for defense, and I feel like defense is also mental too. Like, it definitely helps with mental push, and fighting through fatigue, but it does take a different type of focus to do that. So it's just, again, like at practice, just doing that at practice. If we could do that for 3 hours at practice, then we can do it for 40 minutes for a game.
For you personally, what's just kind of the last 2 games meant for you to kind of get going? What do you feel like you've been able to work on that's benefited you on the court?
Oh yeah, I thank God for that. My coaches and my teammates, like, they push me so hard in practice and they believe in me. So being able just to get back into it all comes from just, staying focused and just trusting the process and having a great staff and great teammates around me.
You guys have already dealt with a lot of injuries so far this year. Has that been difficult for you guys to kind of adjust to, or do you feel like it kind of strengthens you heading into Big Ten play?
Yeah, I feel like having injuries, it definitely strengthens the team, but also it does hurt the team too. But one thing about, Illinois, we always find a way to push through, and I know Coach Green always says next woman up, and we just continue to be there for each other and push each other in those hard moments.
How much did you guys grow just playing without Makaira, who's so important, or Cam, or even Gretchen for a game?
Yeah, I believe we grew a lot, and I know we didn't have her on the court, but she was still there with us, at practice and stuff like that. So Makaira, she leaves a great presence on the floor, and playing without that is hard, but it definitely helped us to just come together more and just figure things out.
Coming out of those 2 high major games, Marquette and Notre Dame, what can you take from that? I know there were losses. What can you guys take as you get closer to Big Ten play?
Yeah, I feel like it helped us realize that we just got to clean up a few things, but it really did show our fight for those games. Like, we didn't just lay down, like, we're going to fight to the end. And I'm glad it's the beginning of the season that we have things to figure out, but those were really good games for us, and I just believe it just showed us the simple things that we just got to clean up.
How do you handle, having that defensive responsibility? They like to put sometimes the best wing, you'll take that responsibility. How do you kind of feel about that?
Yeah, I love that. Like, I always want to guard the best player and, lock them up. It's just a mentality that I have, and I'm going to take every role that I am given on this team. So if I got to lock up the best player, then I'm going to do that.
much does that defensive side of the ball kickstart your Phoenix transition, and how important is that to what you guys want to do?
Yeah, defense is very important for Phoenix. Without defense, we couldn't play Phoenix. And the main three things that Coach says before the game is defend, rebound, and run. So we got to get stopped so we can get those rebounds and go into Phoenix.
Everybody good?
Thanks, man.
Sunday, Coach said you guys kind of got back to playing how you typically play. What does that look like, and why do you feel like you guys were able to get to that point?
I think it really meant like our defense. I think offense is something that is gonna, come throughout the season. I mean, we played together last year, but I really think like the defense was something had kind of been up and down and not up to par like it was last year. So I really feel like that game was really, we just kind of stepped up. We had fun playing defense, and we were a little more aggressive than we were. So I think that made it kind of fun. So I just think taking that step in defense will, project us to that next level and help us.
How do you, kind of as a leader on this team, emphasize that to the rest of your teammates?
I think just putting all my effort into defense. We know we would rather us try super hard on defense and then relax on offense. There's no break on defense. We're trying to, our defense influences our offense, and our defense, impacts our offense. So just kind of having that whole mindset of in the post, being able to front my girl, get around and get steals, can help the guards push it and that kind of thing.
There's already been a few injuries to start the season. Do you feel like it's been difficult to adapt with those rotations, or do you feel like it kind of only makes you stronger heading into conference play?
I feel like it really makes us stronger because I feel like people are getting more minutes now, and I really think that will really be able to help us make our bench deeper, especially when we get into conference play when everybody's really good. So I really feel like just kind of, Gretchen, Corey, Shay, Hobby, getting those minutes as new people coming on it's been really beneficial.
As we do get closer to conference play, how important are these final out of conference games as you get in the tough stretch of the season?
I think they're really important. All game, we go into every game, looking at them like it's the national championship game. So just kind of having that mentality of being able to go in and do what we need to do regardless of who it is. So I think these next couple non-conference are just super important just because, it'll help get that record higher, get that net, all that technical stuff. I think it'll really help with that.
It's just maybe the last week too been being maybe more practice time. How's that sort of helped you make the progress that you're looking to make and going into December?
I feel like it's been really helpful. I think we made a lot of progress over, the last week, just being able to practice and not have a game and not have to scout. So we've been able to really kind of watch a lot of film and fine tune a lot of those little things that we weren't really doing well, like the defense. So just being able to kind of get back to the basics and work on breaking stuff down I think it was really helpful, and I think it showed against Canisius.
I've heard that rebounding has kind of been a big emphasis for Shauna this week. How have the bigs reacted to that? Because essentially you kind of guys know you're talking about you guys.
Yeah. I think, we reacted really well. We have a lot of practice players that are really big, strong guys. So it's been, kind of difficult in practice, but I think that only prepares us for the games against, some of those bigs, and especially conference play when everyone's pretty much taller than all of us. So, we take it as a challenge. That's kind of our job. That's, I take it as my role. So just kind of being able to fine tune that and getting there and do it.
You talk about getting steals and getting out and running. We saw you kind of leading the break a few times. Is this a new addition to Kendall Bostic's game?
Probably not leading the break, but just being able to, it's positioning. I mean, it's really all it is, and it leads to, defense. And so just being able to be in the right positioning at those times and be able to, get around, use my quickness to get around those bigs and get those steals and get it hopefully to Makaira or Jen going down the court. So.
But in reality, to kickstart that Phoenix transition, how important is it to start on that side of the ball?
Yeah, I think it's really important. We've been working on a lot. Especially Coach Mack has been really kind of helping me just get one or two dribbles out of that rebound, so it is faster, and Makaira and Jen and Dal and all of them can get up the court. So just being able to be confident with that one or two dribble just to get it out a little bit has been pretty important.
Everybody good?
Okay, great.
Cool.